For November the 4th, 2022, we talk about Persona 5 Royal, Walkabout Mini Golf, Dawncaster, and much more. Welcome to Level 435. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Smith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Welcome, everybody. It is weird because this is not the Halloween episode. Well, I guess because of the multiplayer it is. It's weird. As always, we are thrown off by recording on Tuesday and releasing on Friday.
But today is the day after Halloween for us.
It is.
Dia de los Muertos, right?
All Saints Day, I think, maybe something. Let me consult the Dark Souls trailer. The maniac in my neighborhood who way over decorates for Halloween.
No such thing.
I'm talking about like no room to walk on his tiny ass front yard because of all the inflatables. Way over decorates. I was pleasantly surprised to see that he had taken all of them down.
Because he died of COVID. A happy ending.
No. It's just it's more of a. I imagine he had to make room for the ostentatious Santa display.
It's just
damn. You gonna do Thanksgiving dirty like that?
I don't know if there are Thanksgiving inflatables.
I'm sure you'll find out in a month.
Only thing inflating on Thanksgiving is my bell. Cutting new notches because of all the turkey I'm eating. I watch football and ignore my family.
Guys, are we old yet now?
I got nothing. I have not done anything special. So I will throw it to you, Ben. What you been up to, bud?
What about Saturday? That wasn't special for you, Cole?
I was gonna talk about that during the grind.
All right. Gotcha.
We streamed. It was fun.
Nice save, Cole.
Yeah. Adding that to my document. No, Ben, how about you? What'd you do besides the stream?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to talk about the spooky media I consumed in the past week and make recommendations. I think we talked about this on stream Saturday. I finally saw Barbarian, which is like a horror movie that was in theaters. I guess not a lot of people saw it because it's out of theaters and it's on streaming services now. It's on HBO. Mm-hmm. It was really good, really well written. I watched it twice already. Really liked it. And then I watched Cabinet of Curiosities, which was kind of all over the map. 2 of the episodes were really, really good, and then the rest were kind of dog water. But there are a couple okay ones. It's kind of like it's very similar to Guillermo del Toro's like other movies and stuff, where it's like the practical effects are amazing, like the sets are really good. The writing is a little bit spotty. It's hit or miss. Like not all of them can be Nightmare Alleys. So But Halloween was fun. I am in an apartment behind a gate, so I did not get any trick-or-treaters, but I still took a walk last night and ingested all the Halloween activities. So.
Ingested all the trick-or-treaters.
2-sentence horror stories. Nice. Yeah. No, our neighborhood Halloween, I could have sworn it was tonight or last night, on Halloween. No, it was on Sunday during the day, which makes sense.
No, it doesn't. That is horrible.
I mean, with school on Monday, and also it was raining today, and also not doing it like at night when it's real dark out.
Yeah, that's just BS.
Did you get surprised?
Ruining the purity of the holiday.
It's not Halloween.
Did you get surprise trick-or-treaters then?
No. I also, everybody, like, there was no door knocking. If people were handing out candy, they were in lawn chairs at the end of their driveway.
Got it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So no trick-or-treaters came up and rang my bell.
I feel like half the houses in our neighborhood do kind of a consolidation thing where there will be one or they'll make it a party and there'll be multiple people at the end of the driveway with all the candy in bowls out at the end. But it's like 3 houses worth. So it's like go down and pick one from each bowl, and all the other houses just have their lights off and you skip them. Yeah. Way more efficient and great cover if you want to be a Grinch about it. Because everyone will just assume your house is plugged in with some other house.
Oh yeah, it provides plausible deniability.
what you should do, keep your lights on, and just every kid that comes up, be like, I am so sorry. I am really sorry about it. I wanted to apologize.
Oh man.
Yeah, I actually handed out candy for the first time.
Did you hand it out as a succubus?
No, I was not in the succubus outfit. That was earlier in the day. No, this time I was in a Oni outfit.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Hakama and kimono and the horns from the succubus outfit, but it got a little bit cold for a outfit that was that much uncovered skin.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Look, man, if you don't suffer for your art, I don't know what you're doing.
Nice. What did you do besides handing out candy? David, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. So it was actually a crazy weekend. So on Friday, the local artist commune burnt a wicker man.
Cool.
Unfortunately, no Nicolas Cages, but
but
maybe next year.
You did get not Jeremy Irons. Fuck, what's his name? I always get those two mixed up. You did get Christopher Lee to rise from the grave to come in and burn the Wicker Man.
Oh yeah. I mean, is it really a Wicker Man without that?
You got to counter the bad Wicker Man with the good Wicker Man.
Exactly. So yeah, no, that was actually pretty cool. This year it was in the form of a elk, so I guess technically a wicker deer.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that was cool. And then just parties throughout the the weekend, that sort of thing. And then actually the other thing is I was awarded my black belt last week.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow. Awesome,
Hey,
dude.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah. So that was very exciting. Something I've been working towards for a long time. So yeah, that was really cool.
Did you have a demonstration, or was there a ceremony?
No, so our group, kind of the tradition is that there is no ceremony.
Cool.
Partially because it's kind of more the other thing of going back, generations, it's kind of been, you just kind of work out in the instructor's, garage or living room or that sort of thing. Just, kind of the tradition is that it's informal.
Right. Just there's just a general lack of ceremony.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Which is,
karate?
I mean, fairly traditional for Wing Chun. So,
And in keeping with that, did you get home and kind of toss it casually over the back of your couch?
oh yeah, and just you have to wait until a couple decades later when you have the midlife crisis arc.
Yeah.
Right.
You get back in shape. Get back into the fight.
Well, congratulations. That rules.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. And Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, we did all the typical Halloween hijinks. We went as a family of pirates, and Barrett, our youngest, went as a parrot. So we had Barrett the parrot.
Very good.
It was excellent.
I'm
keeping with the tradition,
imagining him as Iago. I don't know why,
but he was very into picking out the candy. He would everyone has the variety mixes, and he would take one piece and examine it, put it back, take another, examine it. So he was very particular, which was fun to watch. But in keeping with my tradition of shoehorning video game stuff in here,
damn it.
I was hanging out with my kids tonight. We decided to watch a movie, and we watched the Rabbids movie that I was not aware existed and is on Netflix.
Okay.
And man, if you wanted to watch a mercifully short for a movie 65-minute cutscene from a Rabbids game, have I got a recommendation for you?
That is a crazy conditional you just put on there.
Yeah, it's a the quality, the voice acting, the everything about it it just screams like we had these assets, and I'm guessing Netflix is behind the scenes partnering with Ubisoft on other stuff anyway.
Yeah, so this had to get thrown in as a. Do rabbits speak?
The main character was a rabbit, and still did not speak. That's the quality of movie we're looking at here.
I mean, are we at least talking like Wall-E level?
Well, they've got their typical like blah 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 blah, and then the main character was like the serious rabbit, the rabbit that didn't want to be silly, and so he was more of like a blah 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 blah.
And let me guess, he learns to embrace his silly side as they all work together to solve a problem.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to ruin anyone's enjoyment.
I've got to say, after watching that, I think we should revisit all the people that were like, well, I mean, the Mario movie couldn't just all him being like, wow! Yeah. Like, clearly you can make a movie like that.
Clear you can, clearly you shouldn't.
I know. I mean, I feel like a Mario crossover with Rabbids movie, though.
Ooh, Mario X Rabbids movie might be watchable.
They've established. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could be pretty good.
I'm still waiting for, Marvel to do, what is it? Predator versus Alien versus Terminator versus RoboCop
versus Kramer.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's DC that owns all those ones.
Yeah. That's great.
So how did the kids like it? Were they clamoring for Rabbids?
Yeah, they were into it. Yeah, I talked. I think it was last week about the party game we got, and that got them back into the Mario versus Rabbids game.
Gotcha.
And so they've been on a Rabbids kick.
Apparently, the new Mario vs. Rabbids game is actually pretty good.
The first one was pretty good, from what I understand.
Oh yeah. I'm very that. I'll say it quietly because I think all little ears are upstairs, but that one is a definite Christmas present. So.
Oh yeah.
For the kids.
Right.
That Jen and I will spend 90% of our time playing.
Yes, but they can watch and offer advice, but it will not be taken.
That's honestly their preferred method of interacting with games is ordering someone else around who's playing.
You mean kids like to be bossy?
Who knew?
So I was just thinking, I just want someone to make a dwarf XCOM game where one of the the mechanics is you have to drink to power your dwarven abilities because dwarves, but as you do, you get more unrealistically confident and your hit percentages become less and less accurate.
Oh, nice.
It's your hit percentages become like, yeah, dude, you totally got a 90% chance. You can take this.
You got this.
So it's just XCOM then?
It's not a percentage. It's just a line of text that says "fucking great."
Yep. It's the fire button. It reads "Hold my beer."
Yeah, and my joke was more about cocaine. Sorry, that was
I feel like cocaine would be the elves, right? Elves would be on coke.
Yeah,
gnomes. I know gnomes would be on crank. Yeah. Oh, hey, David, I can hear that. The
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It may surprise you that I have Halloween candy. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. If you do it when you're not talking, I can cut it out. But if you do it while you're talking, I can't.
Yes.
Let us use that as an excuse to move on. We have a regular kind of show, What With the Grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss. And why don't we get started with
The Grind.
The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. Ben, I'm going to ask you to go first.
All right.
Because we share the one in common, and then I'll go after you.
Okay, sounds good. I got one new one this week. I played some of V Rising because they had a free weekend over the weekend.
Oh, vampire survival game, right?
Yes. For people who don't know about this is basically a vampire-style Valheim, or Vampime, as I'm thinking about it in my mind. Yeah. It's like it's very similar gameplay style as Valheim. You're The only difference is you're a vampire. The day-night cycle has more of an effect because if it's daytime and you're in the sun, you start to catch on fire and lose health. So you just have to kind of like scurry from shade to shade. But thankfully, the day-night cycle is similar to like Seattle in the wintertime, where it's like 5 hours of daylight, 19 hours of nighttime. So it's pretty forgiving.
Yeah.
But the crux of it is you're trying to make your kind of vampire manner. This is the part where it's maybe not as good of a fit as Valheim, where it's like you're a vampire, pick up a axe, pick up a mace to hit stone. And it's like, okay, well, I'm doing all this weird crafting. I don't know why this goes with being a vampire.
I'm watching the trailer, and what is with this goofy ass run this character has? Like vampires should not waddle. I am angry about this.
I'm not sure about that. Pretty early into the game, you get an ability to turn into a wolf and run around like that. So like that's the majority of my traversing. So I hadn't noticed that.
Oh, so that's the thing. He's just out of practice. He hasn't got his human legs back.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I have to ask, you mentioned if you're in sunlight, you catch on fire. Can you use that as a weapon? Can you just charge people and be the fiery avenger?
No, and the amount of damage you lose like gets more and more severe the longer you stay out. So it's very imperative if you catch on fire to like get to the shade. You have like maybe like a 4 or 5 second buffer before you need to do that, and it's like pretty forgiving. So you can be in like adjacent shade and it'll kind of cool off. But basically, what you're doing is you have like a pretty sizable map. And it has different like civilized areas. They're like kind of points of interest. A lot of them are either like small towns or they could be like mines. Like there's a copper mine or there's a sulfur mine, things like that. And what kind of leads you to these points of interest are you periodically will fight bosses. There's a specific thing you build in your base called a blood altar, which will track like people of interest, like boss battles. And similar to Valheim, when you defeat them, you get some sort of ability out of them. And typically it's a combat ability. It could either be like a movement or combat ability. And then they will unlock tech for you as well, where you can now build a type of building that you weren't able to build before. Okay. So the basic loop is you like have kind of like a makeshift base. You kind of block it off so that people can't mess it up. You know, like process some resources, track a person, go find them and try and fight them and defeat them, then come back, build the new building that you have access to and try and do some more processing of materials to go up the tech tree. And you can play online with friends. So that part was nice. We had one of our friends started a server and we had like 3 people playing. So we'd kind of coordinate, like, let's go out and all fight the boss together at this place to kind of unlock things together. You can revive other people if they're down, similar to Valheim. So that's also what makes it really nice to play with other people. Mm-hmm. Similar to Valheim, I just rely on other people who are better at the game than I am to beat the bosses for me. And I'm okay with that. But so it's interesting. It the gameplay loop is similar to Valheim, so in that sense, it is like it can be addicting, and it could be fun to build like your own little tiny empire. The style is a little bit wonkier. Like don't get me wrong, like building like a stone manor with like a crypt and getting subservient vampires to do your bidding for you, like all that stuff's kind of cool. It's just weird that it takes place in this kind of like pseudo jungle weird civilization thing.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, but it's certainly interesting. It's, if you like those kinds of games, it's definitely an option for you. But yeah, on the whole, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not. So I played it for 2 days. They had it for free over the weekend on Steam. So I definitely enjoyed playing it then, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get it permanently or not. So I think I'm holding off on it for now, but I don't think I'd have too many regrets if I picked it up and bought it and played it.
Is that not a Game Pass game? Because that seems like the type of thing they would add.
It might be. I'm not sure.
Yeah, eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's just something about this, like the fact that it takes place from a top-down perspective and looks kind of like Neverwinter Nights 2. Mm-hmm. And has the like the MMO action bar kind of deal. I I don't know. Like for some reason, perspective actually kind of does matter for me in survival games like that.
Yeah.
Not that immersion is that important to me. That's just it looks like it looks like a different game. If I was watching somebody play this, I would assume it was Diablo.
Yeah. That is something that you could improve upon. The camera's not too great. Like the only controller you have over it's the zoom, but you can't really change the camera angle at all, and so it's too top down. But that's the way it is. I think the other mechanic I didn't mention is like you basically have blood that you're running off of, so you periodically need to feed on things, and it can either be like an animal or a person or anything. And basically they have this kind of like mini mechanic where it's basically like a die roll where it's like they have like the blood purity. So like, which I don't know if that's a thing or not, but it's like, so like
depends on who you ask.
Yeah. So like for given like a bear or something like that, like it might have a blood purity of like 6%, but like randomly you might find one that has like a blood purity of like 50% or 60% or something like that.
Now, if you do side quests for the bear, will the blood quality improve?
No, I from everything I've seen, it's pretty much like a die roll with like maybe the class or the level of it affecting the range and the probability of where it could lie. But what it affects is when you feed on something with a higher percentage blood level, it's basically gives you different abilities. So like, for example, like the different classes are like creature, rogue, warrior, like that type of thing. So it could be like human or animal or something. But for example, with one, it's like if you have like 10% or higher, you do more damage. If you have like 20% or higher, you heal faster. But it's like a limited use. Like your blood will slowly drain with this creature, so you kind of have to enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
But then you also have a choice of you can trade the blood that you have for certain abilities, like healing yourself. But then that also shortens the time span that you have this. So there's kind of a little tug of war there. That's interesting. That's kind of like a unique mechanic of the game that I haven't seen in other things. So
yeah.
So as you drink the bear blood, do you get the ability to bear arms?
No, that's a God-given right, David.
It's just the bare necessities.
You were born with that. Okay.
like seven bad jokes in a row.
There's
overlapping.
Kind of a fun other side effect of that is there's a building you can build in your base that's like a rat catcher or rat producer kind of thing. And you can just collect rats as items and just like snack on them in the field to get like 20% blood. They have like 0% purity.
It's the vampire equivalent of a Capri Sun.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it is. Could you do like a non-evil run, like where you just ate animals?
Rats only. Maybe, yeah. You might be able to do that.
You know what I'm getting when I watch the video of this? I'm getting the desire for a vampire mod or mode for Medieval Dynasty.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I have nothing more on top of that.
Yeah. I think... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I know Crusader Kings has a really great Vampire the Masquerade mod.
Oh, neat.
Oh. Yeah, I think the fantasy is like not a bad one. Like the idea of making your own like vampire manor, like that's pretty cool. So I think that's in line. But yeah, the execution, it's not terrible. It's like, and if you like this genre of game, I think this is right up your alley. But I'm not sure if it sticks the landing for everyone or not, though. So
yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
No,
and then the other game I played was Phasmophobia.
Yeah, we streamed Phasmophobia over the weekend.
Yeah,
we did a night of it on Hexcrank Live on Saturday. I had not played Phasmophobia since we last played it like back in like the fall or winter of 2020.
So what was your impressions of like the updates that they've done in the meantime?
I mean, it seemed mostly visual. I was happy to see the spirit box, like the little radio thing that you speak into and listen for verbal responses.
Yeah.
I was happy to see that was that worked. I remember it giving us fits before. Everything else just kind of seemed more visual.
Okay,
which is good. Visuals are important for horror games. I think that maybe when I heard that there were updates, I was both kind of expecting / I don't know, semi worried that they were going to get rid of the jank. The jank is still there. I like that, but there is also like, I don't know. I died every time.
The ghosts really had it out for you.
They really, really did. They came right for me. And we kind of had a discussion on stream a little bit about like, you know, some of the like the role of ambiguity in this. Like, oh, like they're, you know, you could have what appears to be every single symptom, every single sign of a of one kind of one kind of ghost, but because you know it didn't happen to proc the fingerprints actually, and you kind of made a guess about the whether or not there was an orb. Well, okay, no, you got it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
And just like how much that the ambiguity and interpretation, like how much place that has for it.
The one I messed up on in particular, the one where it's like ghost orbs could be a fourth clue for one particular kind of ghost, and I totally blanked on that, so that was my bad. But
it was pretty funny when I was standing in the van looking at the monitor, trying to see like, okay, do we have an orb or not? And I said, oh, we have like it's like kind of like a big blurry one that's kind of moving around here. And then I turned around, you were looking over the shoulder, and I realized that what I was reacting to, what I thought was an orb, was just the reflection
flashlight,
of your flashlight, which is what would actually happen to ghost hunters.
Oh, absolutely. That's hilarious.
That's where I wish this game would start going in, is like make it more realistic of like how tough it is to be a ghost hunter, and like a poverty simulator. It's like, all right, we only made $20 from this. How are we going to get home with gas money?
Or like you go to the house and just nothing happens.
It's the drill tweet, but instead of candles, it's just a bunch of different kinds of flashlights. Somebody says, "Stop buying all those flashlights," and you respond, "No."
Remind me how much does it set you back if you guess wrong? Like if you get to the end and
it doesn't set you back, you just don't get any money for it. Like so you get rewarded if you make the right guess and for each piece of evidence you find.
Yeah. And can you still get rewards for the pieces of evidence as well? Like you can still progress even if you don't ultimately guess right.
So you have like 3 side missions and you have the ghost. And so I don't think you get partial credit. So I guess if it's like you get 2 pieces of evidence and you guess wrong, you don't get anything. But the side missions, if you get them, you get money. So you can take pictures of things. So it's like if you find evidence, you can typically take a picture of it. So maybe that's like the partial credit.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. No, but it was fun.
Can you trap the ghost? Can you get like the little Ghostbusters box thing?
Not like that, but some of the ghosts, if you shut a door on them, they won't be able to get past it. Some of them just flip that wide open and come and kill you.
And some of them
do none of them go through?
Some of them do, yeah.
And some of them will just walk right through a wall and then grab you from behind and sink their fingers into your eyes, and boom, suddenly you're in a realm.
They do need to work on having different kill animations. Like the one is good, but then if that's every time, it's like,
Yeah.
Yep.
No, but I had fun, and I was grateful for your patience.
No. You did great. No patience was needed on my end. I enjoyed it. I was just worried. Anytime you died, I was like, all right, I need to like hightail it out of here because we need to keep the stream going. So
yes. Well, when I'm a ghost, I can be like a cameraman. Like I can follow you around.
Yeah.
And we're still talking. If we were using in-game chat, we would not have been able to speak to each other, and that would have been a real bummer.
Yeah.
But we were talking on Discord, so it was no problem.
It's true, but it's still dead air.
Yeah. But like I like that as far as like, a teamwork game. It's just kind of like, okay, like let's decide which of us is going to take what, and then okay, we're going to do the high school level. Well, one of us is going to have to go and find the power box. And I went up there and got lost, and you went into the truck and said, oh, it's on this side. You help me get through there. Just like that natural kind of just like, oh yeah, let's just work together and both try and move the ball down the field was a good feeling.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. No, it was a good time. I tried playing it in VR just because you had said like, oh yeah, it's real scary.
Yeah.
Unless there is a setting to change it. I didn't get very far in VR because it is precisely the kind of VR movement that
It's you motion sick too.
that makes me
Yeah,
motion
yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the I mean, like even just like not a warp, you know, like it just like, okay, I'm going to point to a space and I want to move there, and then it will like move me there at like the running speed.
Yeah.
No, you just have the like, my body is moving still, but my avatar and what my mind and what my eye is seeing, and what my brain is trying to process, is standing still while also moving and possibly going up and down stairs.
Yeah.
And it was too much.
And that's an explanation for why you move so slow in the game.
Yeah.
It's because like you need to make the regular player speed the same as the VR speed, which is even that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or nauseous wise. Yeah, I forgot about that part too.
Yeah.
I think I could make it like maybe like 15 or 20 minutes, and I did feel the nausea, and I had to like switch off. But yeah,
I got into the front door of like the easy house, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I wasn't playing with anybody else. I just wanted to pop in and see see what it looked like. In single player. Yeah,
nice.
So if they fix that, like, I don't know how you solve that problem.
Yeah, because you warp away from the ghost.
Yeah.
You solve it by dying.
Yes. Yeah. I don't envy them, you know, the task of even trying to solve it. It's just for me, it didn't work.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Buyer beware.
So yes, that is Phasmophobia. Did you have anything else? You said you had 2, right?
That's all I got.
Cool. I have a new one because I am very much in the VR mode. So I brought this as an end boss. I brought this as a news story a while back when they announced it. But there is a mini golf VR game, a VR mini golf game rather, that it announced that they are doing a special course that is all mist. Like it takes place on like Mist Island. Maybe even also in the different ages. Beat Still My Heart as kind of an expansion pack that is coming out later this month. I had VR out, like I was playing it because we're doing Half-Life Alyx for Watch Out for Fireballs. And I decided to buy and fire this up thinking, okay, like this is Mist content I'll get to see. I really, like Mist stuff. I have played like, virtual mini golf stuff and not really enjoyed it like on PC, just doesn't have the same kind of feel. So this game is called Walkabout Mini Golf. And it is really good. Yeah. So, it's just mini golf, guys. Like you're on these fanciful courses, and like each course is themed. The holes start out pretty simple, but they quickly get implausible. Like no reasonable person would build this kind of deal. But like as far as the play goes, it feels a lot like mini golf. That is very much like a hack way to describe something, in VR. Snozberries taste like snozberries, whatever. But you control it like you just have the one Quest controller, the one dingus, and that is your putter. Like you're holding the putter. You can do the warp walk around kind of thing to look at the hole and plan out your shot. You press you either move up next to the ball and hit it, or you press a button just to automatically warp to square up to the ball, and you swing. Like you can just do the proper putting posture kind of deal, where you're not swinging at your elbows or at your shoulders, but you're locked in a barrel and you're rotating your hips. Like you can just do that for more control. And like after like a couple of like junk holes, as I got a feeling for it, like it really is, you are making pretty precise shots in roughly the same way that you would if you were playing mini golf. The speed of your attack affects things. Your follow through affects things. The angle of your putter as you swing through affects things. It is like, I never really felt like I was over or under hitting based on the speed that I went. It's just a really good VR simulation of mini golf.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Does it have multiplayer?
It does. And like, it sucks that VR is so exclusive, because like I would love to set up a night just like to, I don't know, dick around and play virtual mini golf.
Yeah.
If listeners are interested in that, let me know. But it's real good. I was really surprised. I didn't expect it just to like fire off the parts of my brain that were like, oh, mini golf is fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did the pirate course at the beginning, and then I did the one that was like themed off of like feudal Japan, and then I went ahead a little bit and did the sci-fi spaceship one. It's just like you're in a world. It is themed after the thing, and you are doing mini golf inside of it.
Is there a spooky one so you can shoehorn it into Hexcrank?
I don't know that I can shoehorn it. I know that they're you know I didn't look and see. There has to be, because haunted mini golf is absolutely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just, it's not, you know, groundbreaking or anything. You know, golf simulators have existed for a long time. You know, it's just a simple VR mini golf game that does exactly what it says on the tin. And I have had just a lot of fun. You can, you know, play basically a whole round in 15 minutes, you know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And just going in, and, you know, I got 7 under on on the pirate course, the super easy one. Yeah. It's just a good game. I don't know. I don't know how to elaborate beyond that and make it more into content. Mini golf is fun.
Mini golf is awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me. I had Phasmophobia and Walkabout Mini Golf. Like my other than doing like assignment play, I'm also playing Chaos Head Noah, which is the new. It's an old game, but it was recently released in English for the first time. That is from the same science adventure series as Steins Gate is. So it is less of a video game and more of a like electronic comic book that has branching paths. So it doesn't make sense to bring here. I believe if Jala plays it, we'll do like a bonus level about it. But like, yeah, the path branches. The story's fucked up.
I like that the punctuation in the name is similar to Steins Gate. Where it's,
yes. All of them do that. And then also anime titles are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any questions about Walkabout Mini Golf?
Sounds cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you throw your club in anger?
No, it is in your hand. It is one with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I would miss the golf like power meter.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know. I think golf is the one thing where I think I like the video game mechanics better than the real life mechanics.
The video game mechanics on golf games are good. Specifically when it is the 3-tap system, like a Mario Golf or Hot Shots. It's weird for mini golf, is what I have found.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny if you used your 9-iron for mini golf.
Yeah, no, I got a hole in one. It wasn't the same course. It was a different business, different owners. Still a hole in one. I'll take it. Let's see, David. How about you?
So unfortunately, this has been a crazy busy week for me, so I don't have all that much. I've been continuing on with Deep Rock Galactic.
Yes.
Yeah, Desmi jumped on it. I forget which mission did we end up going on. Was that the one with the pipes?
It was the one with the hacking. The hackbot. You had to call down the hackbot. That wasn't the main thing that we did, though. That was the side quest.
Oh, okay, that's right. Well, the hackbot, though, is, I think, one of the highlights. You know, basically, you have to, you know, you get these little pylons you can plug into the ground, and, you know, they can only work within, you know, a certain radius of each other, and they have to have line of sight, but then you're basically forming this, you know, network, this linkage up to whatever you're trying to hack. And I think we did 2 of these. The first one, it was like we're trying to go across this massive chasm, and it was just insane.
Yeah, line of sight when you have to deal with like the edges of a cliff. and relatively short radius is pretty crazy.
But then the second one, we're like, all pumped up. We're like, all right, we're gonna do this. We've got this. And then the second one was like, go down this shallow grade in a straight line.
Yeah.
So, and then my favorite part though is then the hack bot is actually like this, like multi-monitor kind of computer system, comes drilling down through the ceiling and crashes down. And there's this little robot like banging on the keyboards, like typing as fast as it can, hacking, and you have to protect it. I think my other favorite one is there's one that you're basically drilling for oil. And you actually kind of have to do a similar thing. You have to connect up these pipes to this series of oil derricks. But then the best part is then you have to protect them and like repair them as the aliens attack the pipes. But the just genius level feature is that you have the ability to just grind along the pipes to get where you need to go.
If you're the scout, right? Or is that everybody?
This is any of them.
That's everyone, yeah.
I think you mentioned this one last week. Yeah.
So basically, it just becomes like oil. If you somehow mashed up oil drilling and roller coaster tycoon.
Okay.
The hard lesson I learned from playing this another time was around stacking the pipes on top of each other. So, oftentimes you got to take them through kind of a convoluted area, and you got to do a lot of digging and terraforming to make the path right for the pipes. And once you do that for the first one, you can build the next two on top of the first one, and it's just way easier that way. The problem is that then means that you only have one line to grind on instead of three. So you kind of can dig your own grave if you want to be moving to different areas of the map, because you always have to be coming from like one angle, or you always get caught and have to jump off and then figure out your way to get back on. And because they're stacked 3 high, you can't jump high enough to get on them. So it's a whole thing.
Huh. Go ahead.
Very good. Have you guys gotten into the deep dives yet? Or
No,
I have not
haven't
yet.
Okay.
I'm excited for them. That's what I hear people say is like, there's so much cool end game content in this game, but we're just kind of slowly ramping our way there.
Yeah, and it's just like 3 missions back to back, and it's just harder difficulty. But
okay, that's cool.
So one thing I do like that they added is one of the missions is basically to fight these series of mini bosses. And the last time I played, they were just really big, really tough enemies. Regular enemies, but now they've actually they all have very unique mechanics. So there's one that, its whole thing is like it summons, kind of, I don't know, like elite level enemies to fight you while you're trying to fight it. There's one where there's 2 of them, one attacks from the ground, the other, crawls along the ceiling, some other things like that. And that actually makes it a lot more interesting. I also actually had a run where we accidentally activated both one of the enemies and then the one that has like 2 of them fighting you. So we had 3 bosses attacking us at the same time.
Yeah, that's rough. That's like a deep dive.
Yeah.
Are these the ones that become your allies too after you beat them, or is that only some of them do that?
I don't understand what makes that happen. I do know that it annoys the heck out of me because I just end up trying to shoot the thing that's my ally.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it moves and has more than 2 legs, you shoot it, unless it's the mule,
or if it's an elf.
If it's an elf, yeah.
So I guess I never thought about the structure of this game before. The fact that it's dwarves and there's digging and stuff made me think that it was more like a persistent thing. You're talking about missions. Like, are these like Left 4 Dead kind of like we're gonna, run this campaign? Like, there's a goal, and when we're done, we level up and we move on to something else.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it's very bespoke missions.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
Although
levels.
the actual levels are procedurally generated.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like No Man's Sky, where it's like things are procedurally generated, but there's a style, so it's like, but the template is like what mission it is and what biome it is.
Yeah.
Right. And there's modifiers you can get that will add usually bad things like cave leeches.
You've talked about the haunted ones before. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Have you guys messed around with any of the other classes, or are you sticking to what you like best?
So I've been doing driller some. The thing with that is I really like the actual drilling part. I don't like the fact that like the only weapon you can get is variants on flamethrower.
I'm a big fan of the cryo thrower. That is excellent. Chef's kiss. Especially the mod that is like enemies have a chance to explode. It's like 50% upwards of the time, so it's way more effective than I expected it to be.
And their secondary weapon's just a pistol, right?
So far, yes.
Yeah, their primary is super powerful, and the drilling is super powerful. So that's kind of like the definite pluses of the class. But
yeah. And then I play gunner some just because that's probably the most straightforward class.
Yeah, the zip lines can be really OP if you use them effectively. Yep.
Yeah, I like the fact that when you're going downhill, you can just like super speed.
Yeah, I want to be able to do that going uphill so bad, but
I think you can
There's a perk, I think,
unlock
that
the
unlocks
ability to do that.
Yeah,
Man,
I think you have to be the gunner though, right?
yeah.
Right.
somebody needs to just some multiplayer game developer, or even single player game developer, needs to go back to the old Tribes games and figure out a way to bring in the skiing movement with
cool.
jetpack stuff. Like, I understand that requires big maps with like hills and stuff, so maybe not this, but just think you guys talking about those different movement modes made me think, God, Tribes was really fun to zip around in.
That would be cool. I've always wanted like Tribes plus Dynasty Warriors. Just give me a huge map and lots of mooks to fight, but let me just like, fling myself to the other side of the world.
Yep. But yeah, that's my contribution to this.
Get on it, game devs.
Yep. What else you played, David?
That's it.
Cool. Dennis, round us out.
Yeah, I have played a shit ton of new games, so I'm gonna skim lightly over a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
But I got bit by the card game bug with my delving into Magic the Gathering Arena. Continued having fun with that. But I then had all these people, as I'm talking to them about Magic, they're like, "Oh, well, you should also try."
Marvel Snap.
And I played a little bit of Marvel Snap, just like 3 or 4 hands. I did not connect with it.
Okay. Sorry, I just was making guesses based on what everybody else is talking about.
Yeah, that's I had never heard of it before, and so the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you should try Marvel Snap." I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's the hotness right now."
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
So hot right now.
I guess short games, like a card game that plays in 5 minutes, is
Hearthstone.
In a snap.
Yeah, but Hearthstone even could go really, really long.
Oh,
So,
sorry. Yeah, I guess I never played well.
Yeah. So you concede on turn 3 if you don't get your god draw, then yeah, totally understand. But yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I don't know, felt a little too close to the free to play, BS games out there. That it's like, man, if I want something lighter, I'm not going to be playing a card game. I want, if I'm playing a card game, I want a level of depth and involvement out of it. And speaking of which, the other thing that got recommended to me, which is absolutely fantastic, is a game called Dawncaster. Dawncaster. Does this ring any bells for anyone?
I think I used one of those a couple of years ago to stream.
Yeah.
So this is where you fight with the power of liquid soap, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's an advert game.
The enemies are all oily ducks.
Oh.
No, this is a game that is in the vein of Slay the Spire, and that it is a deck building game, and you're playing cards out of your hand during combats. But there's kind of a larger story that's being told, and you are kind of picking your way through different options as you claw forward through the story. Things get progressively tougher, but you are offered card rewards and other perks throughout to try to get stronger and survive the more difficult areas. Which I haven't successfully done yet. I've only gotten to, I guess it's like the 4th area or so, and I've always gotten taken out before I can see the game all the way through. But I'm having a ton of fun. So the convention is that like there is this, the world is under siege by demons. There is a legend of this. They don't call it the Dawncaster in the game. They call it something that's like the Dawnbringer, I think.
Dawn Treader. It's a very strange crossover.
Yeah. Yep. And like this person is supposed to save everyone, and you are being sent to find this person. Which, I'm guessing, but it feels like inevitably you're going to realize that you are actually the person, but whatever. And you are drawing a hand of cards, and playing out. You start with just like basic attacks and some blocks. But this game, in contrast to Slay the Spire, has just a lot of interesting different ways you can avoid damage. So you can just block, which straight up just like, counters damage. You can freeze your enemy, which means their attacks do less damage, each time they attack. You can gain evasion, which just straight up dodges the attack. You can gain, I think it's called impervious. There's like all these different ways, and the game has 6 different classes right now. Maybe it's 7. And each class just kind of focuses on these different ways that things are handled. And so, they feel very different, and all feel like they've got different ways to kind of break the game wide open and get these crazy combos, etc., to play with. So anyone who's played Slay the Spire is like nodding right now, because that's the Slay the Spire loop, right? Like that's what makes the game what it is. But the thing that I probably appreciate most about Dawncaster is that it plays in portrait mode.
Okay.
So whereas every other card game I've ever played on my phone is you have to hold the game landscape. Mm-hmm. This one, you've got your hand of cards at the bottom, and you're always just facing one enemy at the top, which gives you the freedom to hold your phone like a normal ass person, and play that way. Freeze up a hand, etc. And I did not realize that is the feature that I wanted in a card game until I had it. And I'm like, oh my god. It hurts so much to go back.
It's uncomfortable for me, it's uncomfortable to play a game for way too long in, landscape mode on something that's small, right?
Yes.
Like it is, you add in the backbone controller that, kicks the arms out substantially, which is nice. But if you have shoulders that are broad at all, holding your hands that close together for a long time could be a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it's not the
ergonomic.
Yeah. So this kind of solves that, and so that's like my go-to now as I'm like out walking, pushing a stroller in one hand and holding the phone in the other. Works great. It's definitely scratching that card game itch. The one complaint I have, and this might just be the amount of time I've spent with it. So there's combat events, and then there's just, they call them opportunities or shrines. There's 2 other types of just like random encounters where it's not combat, but there's a set of choices, and you kind of get boons or damage as a result. And where those happen in Slay the Spire, they always put in parentheses like specifically what choice you are making. Right. Take 6 damage and choose a card, or something like that.
Yeah.
In Dawncaster, it's just flavor text.
Oh no.
And it's vague. So and you kind of just have to intuit like kind of what's happening. Some it's fairly obvious, some it's not at all.
I mean, that is no, don't do that.
Yeah, and for a game that's difficult already, like that's just punishing. What you're forcing me to do is play this long enough that I've seen all the shrines and opportunities and remember all of them well enough.
Yeah.
To, when I see them again, recognize them. Because I'm in that awkward stage where it's like, okay, I know I had this one before, and it was either really good or really bad, and I can't remember which. I just remember having strong emotions about this.
I mean, even the most like rigorous game that also has, pretty good flavor text, Darkest Dungeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That very clearly will show it does what you described before. You have the flavor text, then you have in parentheses like, hey, here's what you know. Mm-hmm. Because you're already dealing with so much incomplete information that throwing on text interpretation, it's one too many layers. Like, I don't think any flavor text is good enough. If discerning ambiguity is not what your game is about, you don't want to throw that in just because you want to make sure people read, about the glowing-eyed boars of Hanfar.
Yeah.
I really don't care what those boars are, why their eyes are glowing. I kind of just want to know if feeding them will, screw me from an X match, please.
Yes, that is exactly it. And it hasn't. There's been no single instance where I was like, okay, that choice tanked my run.
Right.
But it does just feel like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah.
I guess I could just Google it, but also like I'm playing this on my phone. I don't want to have another window open. I don't want to be tabbing away from it just to play. So I might forgive that more on a PC game.
Right.
But I would love to get a little more specificity. Otherwise, everything about the game is great, and the builds I have that have gotten further definitely have been unique in the way that they've kind of gotten strong. So it doesn't feel like you're just searching for that one formula to success.
Yeah.
Aided by the fact that the different characters use different types of mana, and while you always have access to all the cards, you're not naturally going to have access to all the different kinds of mana. So you kind of have to take those different lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is Dawncaster, and that kind of rounds out Dennis's card corner.
Cool.
I am now going to go into RPG mode.
Okay.
Because if you remember, I talked last week about the Fallout 3 challenge run mode.
Yes.
And I don't know, that got me nostalgic, and it's on Game Pass. So I started playing Fallout 3 and made an evil little character, and have not touched VATS once, and have batted down everyone that stood in my way.
Is this your first time playing it, or are you going back to it?
No. I played through a good playthrough long ago.
Okay.
And yeah, you very quickly find the limits of trying to play as an evil character.
I mean, Fallout 3 specifically is very bad for that.
Yes. Early on in the vault, you're having a birthday party, and some granny kind of character, sweet granny character, is like, oh, I might have a present for you. And you can be like, oh boy, what is it? Or you can be like, fuck you, grandma, give me my present now. And of course I chose that one because this is the evil playthrough.
Right.
And she's like, well, aren't you sassy? Here's your present. I was like, oh, I can just talk to people that way?
Yeah, that's unsatisfying.
You just gonna take that, grandma?
Stand up for yourself,
is
grandma.
It better or worse than the whole infamous, I could help them or I could not?
Yeah. It's about on that level.
Feed the puppy or stomp the puppy.
Yeah. So, I think the fun is the idea that, if I say this mean thing, then something bad will happen, and then you do the good thing and feel like you avoided a negative. And this is showing that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep the game progressing. We'll see what happens when I blow up Nuketown.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Megaton. That is the first big good evil choice in the game, I feel like.
It's like it's kind of also the only one. Like, I
Really?
I mean, there might be a couple of like, I almost want to call them like non-optimal. There might be a couple of like, minor evil choices that you can make with certain side quests. Like do you turn in the android or not? But like, it's just kind of like that early on one is okay. Do I use Megaton or Tenpenny Tower as my first hub?
Yeah, and it's so funny. So I'm thinking now there is a quest where like the guy in Megaton Moriarty who knows information about where your dad went is you're trying to get him. He's like, go take care of this person who stole money from me and ran away. And you get out there, and it turns out like she was actually like getting misused by him, and he promised her money and then reneged, and so she took it and ran, like just the money that was owed to her. And the you can either be like, okay, give me the money and I'll pretend I never saw you, or like, or just give me some of the money, or just keep it all if you want to be super good, or you can be like, you're a junkie, aren't you? Die. Like,
yeah.
Oh. It's a little over the top, and nothing bad happens. Got all my money, got back to Moriarty, got the information. No one's ever going to see her again. I had a little karma meter go down, I guess, but like, who cares?
Can you do just like an extinctionist run? Is that a thing?
I could try. I think everyone in Megaton is a little bit dangerous for me right now.
You can't kill the kids.
That's very fair. I mean, guess though, if the bomb goes off,
ultimate apocalypse, like only the kids are around.
Mm-hmm.
Bomb... when you turn 18, just the angel of death shows up and vats you in the head.
It's like a reverse Logan's Run.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go that far because I'm already challenging myself enough with not using VATS, which has been, I mean, it's been surprisingly easy because there is very little combat in the beginning portions of the game.
Right.
So mostly I've just been shit talking everyone and not getting held to account. The only other evil thing I can think of that like really showed up was in the name of blowing up or rigging the bomb to explode. It's like a science check or something, and you can ask the guy like, what if I'm not smart enough for it, which I built, so I was not smart enough for it. He's like, you can go get some mentats from this one guy who secretly uses them, and you can either like be nice to him, or you can like strong arm him saying, I'm going to tell everyone that you're a junkie, which just makes me realize like all the evil stuff is just pressuring people who use drugs.
That's one of the things that I really like about Fallout 76 is that whereas the previous games I feel like are super, straight edge, drugs are bad. Fallout 76 is pretty much takes the position of like, dude, the world sucks. Of course you use drugs.
Yeah. Like I need to take the speed in order to like stay awake as I cross the countryside to get to safe. Yeah. I need the speed, please. Thank you.
So that's been my experience so far. I have not yet gotten to that big button push choice, but I know where I'm headed. Yeah. And we'll see how it goes from there. The combat, as swinging a melee weapon, is kind of wonky because the game's not designed for that. So I get it. Yeah. But I'm having a fun little jaunt down memory lane. And that did, wet my whistle for more RPG stuff.
I mean, so like with melee only, you can, I believe you like pretty early on, you can mainline to get the recipe for the flame, the flame sword thing, like the crafting recipe for that. I forget what it's called, but yeah. Okay. Look that up. Fallout 3 flame sword. That should make things a little bit easier.
Also, forget, is this the one, can you get in 3 the lunge ability? Because that was pretty fun in 4.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't recognize it off the top of my head. But yeah, so I was like, okay, this is fun. This is a gimmick though, but I kind of want to play an RPG. And I have never touched the Persona series.
Oh, and 5 just came out. Yeah.
Well, just came out available to me. This came out.
It's on Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. What year did it actually come out? Hold on.
2019, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was like 2017.
Yeah. Long enough ago that they wouldn't have known. One of the main transitions you make between the dream world and the real world or whatever is done through the metaverse navigator.
Right.
And I heard metaverse and I just immediately started laughing. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like that can't be where that came from. Like, and I don't know if I can take this game seriously if I'm going to be hearing that for the rest of it. But man, that was on point. Prophetic. Whoever put that in.
Well, I mean, they specifically they're calling it metaverse because of Snow Crash, not Persona calling it metaverse, but like the reason all these shitty Silicon Valley people are calling it that is because that's what the VR, the Second Life in Snow Crash is. They all want to. They're just taking every ill-advised thing from science fiction and saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if. Yeah.
It's like, no. That was cautionary tale. They're all cautionary tales. I don't know why you're not picking up on that. But yeah, so I've been playing Persona 5 Royal.
Nice.
Has anyone else played this?
I have not.
Is this like a boxing game?
No, it's an RPG, JRPG. And then man, is it a JRPG-esque JRPG?
Yes.
And people have warned me like there is a lot of grinding in this game, and like it is very, very slow. But the style factor in this game is so high that I haven't minded so far. Right from the top, it's got like major Cowboy Bebop vibes. Like the opening cinematic. Just I kept on thinking of that the opening cinematic for
both share. I mean the jazz. I mean Persona 5's soundtrack is like. Somebody says, "Oh, I love Persona 5 soundtrack." Oh, you just mean jazz fusion? You just like jazz fusion? Is that is that what you like?
Yep. And just the stylized bold colors and all that stuff. They do a great job with. Character design is cool so far. I don't know, maybe it's an anime game and it's all a bunch of high schoolers and I'm just waiting for it to go horny. And
It'll happen.
There's some stuff around like the first the whole thing is like you're going into the worlds of people like as they see the world. And it's like the way they see the world personified. So the first one that you stumble into is the gym coach who's kind of like the celebrity at your school because he used to be an Olympic athlete. His like mental world of the school is this like castle dungeon that he's got all the students in, and he kind of treats them as his slaves, and he can do whatever he wants. And there's some horniness in there that is like really weird. But it's like his creepiness is very much in the thing, and it's not the leering like isn't it fun to think about stuff this way creepiness that like a Danganronpa has. It feels more intentionally set up and all that. So we'll see. Like that hasn't been bad so far. But I've been really intrigued by the world they're setting up, and I don't know, just the flavor of everything, down to like how your character walks is spot on. So it feels like a world that's really like if I'm going to be grinding and inhabiting a world like this one has the style that can carry that.
Yeah, the theming or aesthetics aren't everything, but they count. Yeah. How's the combat and like the random encounter stuff hitting you?
So far so good, but I've put a good amount of time into this game and I'm still getting tutorial messages every combat.
That's a Mega 10 thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, none of it has been mind blowing. Like attack someone with their weakness and you can get an extra attack. And then if you stun all the enemies, you can do a special attack. And it's like, I don't know, I could have browsed some tooltips and felt pretty competent to this point.
So is this their weakness? Is this like Freudian stuff? Like, are you attacking them with their mother, or?
It should be.
They're like demons. They're the weaknesses that way.
Okay, so this isn't like the in people's brains stuff.
Well, it is, but it is.
But there happen to be elemental demons that are in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're like there's something like 8 different elements or whatever, and they all interact with each other. So it's like Pokemon style weaknesses rather than anything else. And fortunately, it's just like once you're familiar with an enemy, it'll just tag what attacks it's weak to. So you don't even have to think that much on that front. But I've the having the gun that you can just unload on people feels really good. And well, it's your buddy brings a toy gun, but in the mental world, since the character doesn't know that it's a toy gun and it looks real, then it is real.
Gotcha.
In the dream world.
Yes.
And I say dream, it's like like a psyche world, like there's no one actually sleeping, Inception style. But it's just a choice of like so when you choose to use your gun, rather than one giant attack that goes off all at once, you just mash the button to like blam 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 at this person, and that's a lot of fun. So I appreciate that.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into any of the leveling up your personas, which is like your summons, do special attacks or anything like that. It's interesting that right out the gate, your very first persona. Like it has attacks that you can pay for with MP, which makes sense. And then the other elemental attack it has, you pay for with your own health. Which was, I was like, oh man, we're going straight there. Like usually that feels like a more niche build that you get into later, but that's an option to you right off the top. So we'll see how much they play with that.
Nice.
But yeah, the last thing I'll say that really struck me is it's incredible that they are basically doing 2 sets of enemy art for everything in the game, because when you're in the Personascape, or I forget what they call it, like there's one set of animations and characters that are walking around, and then when you start the combat, they all like transform and turn into other sets of enemies, which are the enemies that you actually fight. My guess is that so they can skin the enemies in each Personaverse, like each person's mind differently. But still, that's a remarkable commitment to having a ton of different character models.
Atlas is not really afraid to throw assets at the problem.
No, they are not.
I mean, so that's important, life lesson.
The anime sections that are actually animation look great. And there's nothing wrong with the sections that are 3D models. But it just does not feel as good as the pure anime sections.
I mean, at its heart, this is a game that was developed and I think released on the PlayStation 3. It was made for that. And though it has been, updated for these re-releases. I mean, the Royal Edition, this is just a port of the Royal Edition that came to the PS5. So that was mostly content stuff, not like a big visual upgrade is my understanding. So
yeah. Well, it's just the eternal problem is like, how do you translate that anime aesthetic into a 3D model? It's very hard to do.
It doesn't seem like something that just straight up more fidelity would help.
No. This is one of those games that looks good and will always look good.
Which is why it was so weird a couple of weeks ago when I saw news articles about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is getting a PS5 and Xbox One upgrade. I'm like, why?
They're all just rocking the Grand Theft Auto model.
I get, but it was free if you I believe it was free if you had PS4 and stuff like that. But I played it on the Switch and looks like Dragon Ball to me, tip to toe. That's Dragon Ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess maybe if you get a high enough resolution TV, you start being able to tell where stuff is being upscaled. But
maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah. Not the sort of thing that bothers me, but the person that's going to invest in a TV like that might get bothered by something like that. So go right on ahead and get your upgrades.
Not going to stop you.
Yeah. But Persona, and from what I understand about the game, if I continue playing, you'll be hearing about this for the next 5 years.
Yeah. If you're only a couple hours in is very much that's still early days and that.
Yeah. First impressions matter.
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
curious to hear what you think about the story and stuff. Just the idea that you're doing these like heists on adult authority figures who are abusing the kids in some way. You know, yeah.
So adult authority figures.
Yes, yeah. A distinction with very little difference. A lot of the time, unfortunately. Yeah, Persona 5 Royal. I don't have any other questions. I'll throw it to everybody else.
Yeah, that runs me out of games now. Like I said, I went on a binge this week.
Cool. Nice. Well, that sounds like a segment to me.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it. Dennis, what did you ask the nice people?
Yeah, we're right on the tail end of Spooky Day. Halloween was yesterday, and so I wanted to know what game or franchise do you want to see get a survival horror entry? Either a mode in the game or like a whole game in a franchise.
Here's the thing. It's always like we're always covering spooky stuff, like as a network wide, like, remit. So it's always appropriate to talk about horror stuff. Sean says, I really want a Star Wars game with horror elements. I always liked the idea of a Dead Space style game where you are stuck on a space station with your trusty lightsaber, having to cut limbs off of enemies and use force powers to help freeze or push them away.
That would be pretty sweet.
That's tricky though, because Jedi are all about like shitty empowerment. Just like, oh yes, I'm a magic knight. I can do what I want. Oh, just it puts you in a situation where like you increasingly have to compromise your like light side, dark side points in order to get out, and it gets more difficult if you're trying to stay light side.
Oh, that's interesting. A morality meter, but you can only go one way.
Yeah,
that'd be a really interesting game design.
Yeah,
it'd have to be a short game. But yeah,
David, what does Callum say?
Callum says a Baldur's Gate style game set in Ravenloft,
and Callum nails it in one, and that was what I was going to say.
Hell yeah!
So. There we go. It'd be real cool to go around a big spooky vampire manor, one made in V Rising or not, but in Ravenloft, or one that takes place at the carnival that goes around in Ravenloft. Yeah, good stuff. Good call, Callum. Yeah, that's my answer. So, Ben, what does Greg say?
Greg says, following up on the idea of Star Wars with horror, I'd love to see a Star Trek game with horror elements. There's been some elements they can use from the shows and movies, but they never went full out into it. Perhaps elements of Alien or Lovecraft or zombies on a deep survey ship or a remote desolate outpost.
See, I always wanted the Star Trek thing. It always bothered me that there's all these Star Trek episodes where the arc is basically something just murders a ton of red shirts, and then by the end they're like, oh, it was just misunderstood. Like, we can be friends now. And I just want the sequel to that where the red shirts just decide like, no, that's BS. We're going vendetta. We're taking this creature out.
Yeah. No higher morals on this. Blood for blood. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dennis, what does Jeremy say?
Jeremy says, I would really pay for a Don't Starve game built into the Blood Game universe, Bloodborne universe, full of zombie, werewolf, and Cthulhu monsters. Something that would start slow and grow to be darker. Imagine the first hunt that the hunters had to live and make a tool and weapon from scratch until they were able to fight back properly. Oh, they just had to live with it chasing them.
Yes.
Does Don't Starve have any Nemesis-esque character? Because that feels like a very Don't Starve thing to do.
I never played it beyond like when they started adding expansions. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, if you stay in darkness too long, you'll just like a monster will appear and just one shot you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, your sanity manifests the Gru. Yeah. Nice. And continuing that, Eli says, Bloodborne 2. We know From can get down with survival horror, so please, I need this. If Bloodborne 2 was announced and it wasn't the standard Souls action game, I mean, there would be nothing left The Earth would be a smoking ruin if my Twitter timeline is to be believed. So like
Gotta have chalice dungeons.
A Sony social media account like tweeted something out saying, "Hey, Bloodborne's good," and when it turned out that it wasn't announcing it never even said it was announcing anything. When it turned out that it wasn't because of a Bloodborne remaster or PC port, like I thought that people were going to start like I thought the bloodletting was going to begin.
Yeah,
thematically appropriate.
It would. Yeah.
I thirst for content.
Yeah. And David, what does Grizz say?
Grizz says, man, that would be hilarious to have a Luigi's Mansion survival horror game.
I mean, joke answer. It kind of is. Like Luigi's Mansion is very much Nintendo's take on a Resident Evil. Also, a better joke answer. Like, yeah, like the first couple of ghosts are like could be like the regular cartoony boos or whatever, but then suddenly like, yes, it is the daughter of all orphans, and it's just a big ball of corpses rolling at you. Oh no!
Oh no!
Yeah, it's not Resident Evil without Crimson Heads.
The existential dread. Well, no, it's not existential dread. It's existential dread. Yes, that's what I said. The existential dread.
Luigi's gonna find out who killed Princess Daisy. It was you, Luigi. You killed Princess Daisy.
Oh no,
Mamma mia! Oh god. I don't have an answer. Mine was going to be like a Ravenloft, or like not even just like a Baldur's Gate style game, just like straight up survival horror, in a Ravenloft setting. Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my pitch is that one of Team Rocket's heists goes wrong, and ends up with a trainer dead, and his one Pokemon is this now orphaned Abra, who decides to go for revenge. So a couple weeks later, the grunt who's responsible for this heist, his family just starts dying in these grisly murders. And so Officer Jenny has to investigate and stop this serial murdering Abra before it's too late.
Is it like doing an Evil Within thing and pulling them into realms?
Yeah. I'm thinking either just that and driving people to suicide, stuff like that.
Yeah. Doing like, oh gosh, instead of just like the regular bubblehead nurses from Silent Hill 2, it's just Nurse Joy. Like just exactly. Nurse Joy. Mm-hmm. All of them, her whole family. All named Nurse Joy.
Yeah. I was going to say that all the characters have to wrestle with the terror that is knowing there's exact copies of themselves in other cities.
Oh, man. Yeah. There are so many ghost type Pokemon. I didn't even go in the direction of psychic type.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ben, how about you?
So my answer is just make Red Dead Redemption Zombie Nightmare or whatever just on the RDR2 engine, and I would be perfectly happy with that.
Yeah. That'd be good. I mean, I have my one story about the Undead Nightmare expansion where the zombies started showing up without heads and you could not kill them. Yeah. So that'd be nice if they did a sequel that worked.
Do the zombie horse testicles shrink in the winter weather or not? I need to know.
They do that, really?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. I don't know.
That's on someone's resume.
That's a weird one. And Dennis, finally, how about you?
Yeah, I was thinking through and trying to land on one. I think I would be most amused by a legit survival horror Minecraft dungeons, or excuse me, Minecraft. We've got the survival. I want the horror.
Okay.
Just really, really lean into that.
I mean, they
do have Slender Man.
Yeah, they've got zombies, skeletons, spiders, Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
but it's all cute.
They've got Notch.
Yeah.
No, not anymore. They very explicitly have taken all mention of Notch out of the game.
That's what makes it survival horror, is he's back in it somewhere.
No.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, good question and good answers, everybody. If you would like to participate in this, you can go to facebook.com/The Level Podcast and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. Thank you for posting it, Dennis.
The end boss.
Now it is time for the end boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games. I've got one that I'm pretty excited about. A while back, there were some rumblings about the beginning of something called the Starry Expanse Project, related to Cyan Studios, the studio behind Myst. So we kind of knew this was coming, but just today, Cyan Studios announced that they are doing a full 3D remake of Riven, the sequel to Myst. I love Riven.
Yes.
It is a beautiful game in pre-render. Like, even if they just did like super high res upscales of that art would be real cool. But the fact that they're doing full 3D means that you might get VR in this, and VR Myst is good, and VR Riven might also be really good. Yeah, I'm super excited about this. They said, Riven is one of the most highly regarded games in Cyan's history. We don't want to approach it lightly or frivolously. They're a small indie studio. They just want to make sure they're getting it right. So no time span has been announced, but it's real cool to hear that they are making that alongside the other games that they're working on. It's good.
Nice. I need to play those original games.
I mean, they're good. And if you get stuck, they're like walkthroughs. They're old. There's no shame.
So I got the original Myst from my library way back in the day.
Okay.
And like the library case for it still had the booklet that's like if you really get stuck, here are hints.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess the physical version came with that. And it had been as yet unopened for my library copy. And so I got stuck very early in the game. I think it was kind of too young for it.
Yeah.
But I could not be the one.
Right.
I was like, they're probably checking it every time it gets returned. I'm not going to be labeled as the one who broke the seal. So I never continued.
Yeah. No, if you play them now, they're pretty quick. And Riven is genuinely hard. Like, the leaps of logic and intuition you need to make to solve it are still like really cool. It's hard to look at it through fresh eyes. Maybe a 3D remake will help that, but yeah, I'm a sucker for anything and everything Myst. So I was happy to see this.
Nice.
David, what's going on with them folks? What drive cars fast?
All right, so some background to start with. Everyone knows NASCAR. You're trying to finish in first place to win the race. However, they also have a points competition over the season. So where you get points for depending on where you place, the better you place, the more points you get. Leading a lap, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But a number of years back, and Grant, I should disclaimer, my family used to be super into NASCAR.
Why is that a disclaimer?
I don't really follow it anymore.
Okay.
So I do have to disclaimer that I'm explaining this from what the rules were like a decade ago.
Okay.
But anyways, in order to make it more interesting, about halfway through the year, they cut it off, and only the top, however many people who are, in the point standing, they all get set back to, 0 points, but they're the only ones who can win.
Okay.
So driver Ross Chastain got to the last lap of the race at Martinsville and realized that he needed to be gain 5 more places in order to stay in the running for the points competition. So luckily, he thinks back to this trick he learned to do while playing NASCAR on Nintendo GameCube
in 2005.
And as he's coming around the last turn, Whereas everyone else, does what you're supposed to do in these games.
They drive like race car drivers.
It brakes and takes the turn. He just speeds up so that he hits the wall and just slides around it at full speed, passing 5 cars in order to stay in the running.
So like, I'm not going to steer. I am just going to use basically use the outer wall like a jig.
Yep.
Like I was doing like it's a table saw. Just go around.
Very exciting to see where the NASCAR meta goes from here.
Well, that's the thing. Like, is there a font? I mean, I guess you got to rebuild the car, right? Like, so that's money, but a lot of times. Go ahead.
That's one of the funny things that's kind of interesting about NASCAR is the cars are kind of disposable.
Yeah.
Really? The whole stock car thing, right?
Well, and also you'll come to each race generally with at least 2 cars, and so it's fairly common for if you have a wreck to have to switch one out, and similarly there's rules on exactly how how I guess car worthy from a safety standpoint they have to be to keep going, so that there's been races where if you go out and even if you're doing awful, if you finish the race you're automatically ahead of everyone who didn't.
Okay. And
so I remember there was one race where the rules say you have to have a a spoiler in order to have enough downforce to be safe, but one of the drivers spoiler got destroyed, so they proceeded to take off the hood covering and weld it to the back of the car as a spoiler. So the point is, like, the cars are fairly disposable.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this technically wasn't against the rules, and at this point he hasn't been fined or anything.
I mean, just for damage to the track alone, doing that intentionally, like I would imagine somebody, if it's not against the rules now, it might be against the rules in the future to like do that intentionally. It's very clear that he did this on purpose. He is zipping around. I've just been watching this video on repeat since we since we started the story. Like if I was driving on the inside track like that, and I just out of my peripheral vision saw that, I would think aliens were attacking. Dear God.
So, and one of my favorite parts is one of the guys they passed is being a super good sport of it. He posted a video to Twitch of people in the game attempting to do this and crashing, and said, "We've got to get realism back into these video games."
He was doing an iRacing is what it was. Yeah.
But and Kole, apparently that is like a bannable offense in iRacing. And I think that
bunch of weenies.
Ross Christian I think actually got banned from iRacing for doing that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, and Kole, you were talking about the tracks, damage to the track. They have to build all that stuff like designed for cars to run into it, right? Like that's just a safety thing. So
I mean, it's a safety thing, but also like, it is also damage to it cosmetically. Although all of that surface that he's grinding on, and bumping on, and as the Days of Thunder taught us, bumping is racing. All of that is ads. So maybe like that was going to come down later anyway. Yeah.
Well, no, what you do is chop up pieces of that wall and sell it.
Yeah.
Berlin style.
Oh, yeah.
People will, this was wall that was scraped by that one guy that one time.
Yeah. I'm just,
the
other going so fast.
So the other element of this was at Martinsville, which is actually one of the tracks we always went to when my family is visiting this, and it is the shortest track in NASCAR. So it's total a half mile.
Wow.
So twice as big as your average track and field track. And so this is in particular a race that's known for being a lot of like, you're probably going to be doing some bumping people out of the way.
Well, there's just not enough room.
Yeah, it's known for like, if there's a race where crazy stuff is going to happen, it's going to be this one.
It's basically like a roller derby ring.
Yeah, exactly.
God,
that's actually what they use it for between races.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean, like this track is smaller, I think, than Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
God. Huh. No, I'm entranced by this. This rules. And this guy giving that as his explanation. Just like, hey, hey Ross, what the fuck? I played a lot of NASCAR 2005. The specificity is so good. This guy, I mean, there's probably, I wouldn't want to read his Twitter feed, let's say, but just based on the information I am seeing on the screen, this guy fucking rules.
Yep.
Oh, neat. Good story. It also has a good story. The Last of Us. Hey Ben, what's going on with The Last of Us?
Yeah, this was something I got leaked on the HBO app last week, but the release date for The Last of Us TV series got leaked, and it's going to be January 15th of 2023.
It's on HBO.
Yeah, so that is a scant 2 months and 2 weeks away.
Yeah. Well, that better be the final date. God help HBO if that was just like the placeholder they slap on everything that like is going to be later in the year.
Yeah, they've angered gamers now.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So 15th January. That is much sooner than I expected it to be.
Yep.
Could be good. I'm going to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, the Pedro Pascal. Like, I'll watch that guy doing anything.
Yeah. And what's his name? Ron Swanson playing Bill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
At least I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. Just Nick Offerman finally getting a chance to build a trap-filled town. Oh, nice. Anything else about that, Ben?
Nope, that's it.
All right. And Dennis, how's PlayStation Plus doing?
Well, it depends on the stats that you look at. And that's actually what drew me to this story. So that, there was a financial results call. And since they've debuted the whole like chopped and screwed PlayStation Plus extra mini, this, that, the other thing, in June, they have lost almost 2 million subscribers.
But this is from 47.3 million to 45.4.
Yeah, which apparently still easily outpaces what Xbox Game Pass is at.
So Xbox Game Pass on their financial call, they said like, oh, we're like up 10% or whatever, and growth is good, but percentages without any kind of baseline is worse than useless.
Yes. Yeah. More often misleading than not.
Yeah.
The other stat that,
show us your y-axis, bud.
Yep. And it actually came out later on the call.
Imagining like
go ahead.
Some sort of statistician, Mardi Gras. Show us your y-axis.
But yeah, so the y-axis is their revenue for the service, which is actually up.
Well, I mean, it's people going from free trials to paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And going from the base tier up to higher tiers. So that has offset people leaving the service, and their revenue is actually up 10%. So,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, like the some of the line of thinking I used in consulting is like, look, if you got to take care of less people while you're making more money, like that's not a thing to worry about. Like that's fine.
Yahtzee. Yeah.
Not always fighting over volume share.
I mean, it's all about the whales.
Yeah. I mean, kinda, that is the direction this seems to be headed.
Yeah.
So, interesting to see people defecting. There's also the question, I think it's really interesting, of like, how many people go on Black Friday or whenever there's like a huge discount on PlayStation Plus, and you buy 5 years at once just because it's $20.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of those people, like, there's no way in hell they're ever going to re-up
at the higher
PlayStation
tier.
Plus.
Yeah.
and it's they're going to let it run out just because why would you throw away money that you've already spent? But I think that the impact of this new system to those people is going to be much harder to see, and it's going to play out over a much longer period of time.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that kind of buys Sony time to get its shit together. It kind of feels like that company they just don't really have a lot of compelling reasons to own a PS5. Aside from the shortages,
I mean, like for as much as like compelling reason to own a PS5, like for as much as that is a concern, it's also like they're doing better than the Xbox Series X at this point, or especially the S. Yeah, I just think that like console, like like the console market is just kind of a bloodbath, kind of, with PS5 generally doing well insofar as they sell out of supply.
I mean, wouldn't it help if they, made good games that were for the consoles?
They do, and Ragnarok is coming out, so that's going to be awesome. So we'll see. It just, people have been prophesying the death of consoles for years and years and years.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think we're going to see it ramping up now any more than it has in the past, but it is really interesting to watch, even as Sony has relented and started putting their games on PC, the arc that's all following. But what really stuck out to me on this is just the interesting way that like the stats that you focus on can be very misleading or informative one way or another. But focusing on the right thing is often 90% of the difficulty of getting good stats.
But then there are people who are like so just like analyst or Wall Street brained that like, no, I don't care if we're making more money. You need more users. God damn it. Yeah, that's what's valuable. Like, no, the money's good. I like the money.
Yeah,
please.
What are we going to tell shareholders?
Wait, you mean this isn't going to grow infinitely forever for no reason? Okay, well, like it's just going to grow modestly, and like we're going to provide a service that people want to buy, and maybe they dip in and dip out. Okay, cool. Let's do that.
What kind of business are you running here? A sustainable one?
No, sorry, those are illegal.
Yes. But anyway, fun stuff with stats.
Fun with stats. Fun with ending a show. How do you all feel about buttoning it up?
This button.
The credit.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to The Level. This has been level number 435. It's been a good time. You know what to do to help out the show, but it bears repeating anyway. Rating or reviews, subscribing on your podcast directory of choice, checking out the Patreon, check there, and tell your friends. And most of all, come back next week. It's all good. Every last bit of it. And there's Greta sitting right outside the door. She knows the episode's about to end. Dennis, anything going on with Deck of Wonders or associated projects?
Yeah, we are looking real good for delivery by the end of the year, baby. So if you're listening to this, you are right on like the final couple days to put in an order that goes out with the first wave. So look up Deck of Wonders either on Kickstarter or GameFound. The Kickstarter leads you to GameFound. And if you want it right when it's available, now's the time to put in a pre-order. Otherwise, you can still place an order whenever. It'll just go out in a second wave. But Nice. It is almost here. Woo!
At long last.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm not criticizing you for it taking a long time. It takes a long time to get stuff printed.
No, I have been blown away by how understanding like everyone that has backed has been. Like, I guess the Kickstarter community is just kind of used to this sort of thing, but like people are cool. Like
I'm not communicate at all.
Yeah. It's been very heartening to have a massive group of strangers be kind to me. Like that doesn't happen online.
No.
So yeah, my experience on that end has been great, and I'm happy with where it's headed.
Fantastic. And Jala over at Jala Chan's Place just recently put out an episode about the Phantom of the Opera and a prequel novel that was put out here recently, which is good. And also series about masculinity and femininity. So check that out, jalachan.com or jalachan.place. Either works. Anything I'm forgetting?
We are not having a show next week.
Yes. Thank you, Ben. I forgot about it. Yes. First off, vote as far left as you can. vote for Democrats or vote against Republicans. We can't afford to fuck around. I'm not your dad, but that seems like a really good idea because it's getting pretty bad out there, man. So please do
Vote now because I would love to be able to vote later.
Yes. Yeah. Vote for voting. Hooray. Anybody who knows me knows that I am terminally politics brained. I would not be able to focus next week with the midterm returns coming in. So no episode next week because we normally record on Tuesdays. That's when I'm going to be watching streams of the Majority Report and such, trying to just hope, before the sun sets on our crumbling empire. Yes. So no show next week, but we'll be back the week after that. Thank you, Ben. All right. Cool. Well, I've been Kole Ross. You can watch my streams on Twitch at Duckfeed.tv.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can no longer find me on Twitter because I did not have a real following there anyway, and it's kind of turned into a hellscape. I'm sorry to everyone that actually is kind of bound to that system by community.
It's real fun to watch it fall apart.
Yeah, sorry. You can find me on Discord, and I will send an invite link to the Deck of Wonders Discord. We're gonna try that.
Cool.
I'm David Smith, and I'm gonna try something new. I'm just going to find you.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with us threatening people.
And I've been Ben Merkel.
And stick around for some titles.
So I have 4 titles.
Okay.
I have Gnomes Are on Crank. Throw Assets at the Problem.
I also have Throw Assets at the Problem.
Show Us Your Y-Axis. And Vote Now so that you can vote later.
One second. Y-Axis. So you can vote later. Okay. I also had Throw Assets at the Problem, and I also have Blood Game Universe. That was a fun little misspeak. Dennis, what you got?
I've got 3. So I've got Predator versus Kramer.
that is a Family Guy joke.
Yeah. Fair enough. And then I've got Vampires Shouldn't Waddle. And then the final one, I've got Existential Dread with like X-A-Stenchal Dread.
Okay. All right. Ben, what you got?
Nothing.
By votes, it's Throw Assets at the Problem.
You can't say I mind that one.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, there we go. It is decided.